thank you for taking this much time with us today. We also hear that you talked about looking at the original raw cut before music, special effects. Being an ex-stage actor myself, if the acting doesn't cut the mustard, it doesn't really matter what type of icing you put on the cake. I think the special effects were groundbreaking, and that's what we hear. I mean, I have a number of people, we're very Twitter-centric and Facebook-centric on our site. They're constantly sending me messages about the way that it didn't matter, the special effects were great for the time, and really, they still hold up today.
They hold up.
If you take a look back even 30 years, not quite 30 years before that, when Disney helped MGM with Forbidden Planet. But it was the acting in that epic and in your epic that cemented the foundation. And when we look forward to seeing the same thing here, and I can share with you of the hundreds and hundreds, I don't have a book as thick as yours there, but of the hundreds and hundreds of emails that we get and private messages on Facebook or on Twitter, that's what they want to see again.
Right, and that's one of the great things about the internet and being able to put out an email address where people can write to me is that it has given me the opportunity to literally be in touch one-on-one with the audience. Because every one of those letters that comes in, I respond to. I write back to everybody that writes to me.
Wow.
It's exhausting sometimes, but I feel if somebody's going to take the time to write, then they deserve an answer. But the great thing about it is I have been able to really get a sense of how people have reacted to V over the years and around the world. Some of my favorite letters come to me in broken English from people who don't really, English is not their first language, and they're charming letters because they're trying to find the right words in English, and sometimes they're really not. But they're wonderful because the emotion is there. And because of that, I think I have a really strong, clear idea of the expectations of the audience. And one of the things that we want to try to do in V the movie is not only go back and relive the magic and the lightning in a bottle that this was to begin with, but so I want to fulfill those expectations that people have when they come to it, but I want to exceed them as well and have them go, okay, wow, this is great, and it's even better, but it's still based on what I remembered. It's still about the characters and the storylines that I wanted to know about and I wanted to follow more on. And that's what we absolutely are determined to do in V the movie, and it ends with it's quite a strong cliffhanger ending that clearly sets us up for for the future as well, because V clearly is a franchise that can go on, and indeed I have a project that is called V the Second Generation, which was originally designed to be a miniseries sequel at NBC. They bungled that. And I wrote a novel.
As a matter of fact,
yes.
I was going to say there is a novel out there.
There is a novel out, yes, that's right. This is V the Second Generation. The novel is based on the miniseries that I wrote for NBC. Unfortunately, when we were trying to do it for NBC, Brandon Tartikoff was no longer with us, and they dawdled and dawdled while the miniseries market sort of went away in television, and suddenly they weren't making miniseries.
It's true, we don't see much in the way of miniseries at all anymore.
Not too many, and particularly big expensive ones like Second Generation was going to be. But the Second Generation literally picks up the story of the original V 20-something years later. And so we do see our original actors that were in the original
characters
and the original
and the
actors who were in the original V now at their appropriate age 20-something years later, and they become supporting players for a whole new crop of young heroes that are fleshing out the resistance and the bad guys at the same time, of course. So it's an appropriate carrying on of the story that, there's enough material in this book for 2 sequels, actually. So that's what our game plan is, and as soon as we can manage to cobble the money together that we need, it's, as an independent picture, most independent pictures are, made nowadays for about under $25 million. I can't make V look the way that it needs to look for that. even with all of us working as cheaply as we possibly can. I'm in for Directors Guild scale and Writers Guild scale in the budget because I'm trying to keep my part of the cost.
The creativity.
Yeah,
yes.
exactly. And but we're really confident that because there is such a strong fan base out there, that hopefully fairly soon we're going to be able to announce that we have gotten the money together with the help of the people who are trying to find that for us. And certainly if anybody's listening and can write us a check for $49.5 million, they can be a producer.
That's all that's missing is 49.5.
That's right.
Well, we'll go down to the bank here, Kenny, and look that up. Well, V, to conclude our interview this afternoon, and you really have been generous with your time. I know you're very busy. V is one of the few franchises, TV and or movie, that is going into its third decade. If we look back over the history of iconic television, or some even came from radio, the old radio shows into TV and then movies, V is a brand that appears to have legs. And I'd like to share with you that from what we know, we have about 175,000 unique visitors to our site.
God love them.
They love the V reviews that we do. I myself have thrown in the music that you had in the old V. Of course, the theme was outstanding. And I can just state that make it happen because they're out there. They're waiting. The visitors to the movie theaters are waiting to visit with you. Would you like to share anything else with your fans or the fan base before we conclude this afternoon?
Well, I think the main thing, I think I probably said most of what I need to say, but I am incredibly, let me start again. I've said a lot of how I feel about the fans. I adore them. I really take time to listen to what they have to say and to interact with them, and I always will, because after all, they're our audience, and they're the people that need to be pleased, and I want to please them and give them what they hope to see, and give them even a little bit more than what they hope to see. But what I never got into this business to try to make a lot of money. I got into this business because I wanted to be a storyteller. And I've been very lucky over the years in that, you know, a guy, if he creates one iconic project in his lifetime, is pretty lucky. When you create more than one, it's really a blessing and a gift from the gods. To have created the Bionic Woman, which sort of became iconic, and then immediately after that, the Incredible Hulk television series.
Alien Nation was still very popular
Alien
from the
Nation
90s.
is again another of the iconic sort of titles that people really remember that show as well they should. It was a wonderful piece of work. But head and shoulders above all of them is V. It's been an amazing sort of summit to my career, and I am so eager to get back and on top of that mountain again, because I love the story. I love what it has to say about the human condition and about humanity's indefatigable spirit that will just not give up. Indomitable is the right word, I think. Indomitable spirit, so that it sort of matches my own in trying to get this movie made. I'm fighting the good fight myself for the resistance and for all the fans that are out there, because I really believe I know what they want to see, because it's what I want to see myself. And hopefully we'll all see it in 3D in a theater near you or IMAX pretty soon.
Well, with the good people like Patty Beninati and others that you know in the industry, I'm confident that it will happen. I'd like to share one more question that came in from our fan base. A gentleman named Joseph Visitor, it's a Twitter name, remembers the days of the V conventions. And he's hoping for success. He would like to see V back at conventions. As you know, these are very popular fan events.
Sure.
In the event that the franchise takes root, which, well, when it takes root again, would this be something that the fans could see you once again at the conventions at some point down the road?
I'm always delighted when I hear that people want to gather together and say how much they like stuff that we have done. It's so exciting and rewarding to walk into a convention and have people applauding. I mean, it's not, when Universal put out the Incredible Hulk series on DVD a few years ago, they asked me if I'd go down to Comic-Con and do a little Q&A.
Sure.
And I said, well, yeah, I'd be happy to. I'd not been to Comic-Con. And I thought it was going to be like me and 25, 30 people in a room, and that would be that, you know. And I walked into
Surprise.
this aircraft hangar where there was like 4,000 people standing on chairs and cheering, and you know, I mean, it's humbling. And one of the things I tried to take pains to say at the time that how much I appreciated it, but I also had to try to get across to the audience that I was also appreciating it on behalf of all of the hundreds of people who have worked with me to achieve the piece of work that they're all so enamored with. And certainly when we get V up on its feet as a motion picture, I would be delighted if somebody wanted to have a V convention and we could gather some of the team and see that.
Well, these things take time. Good things take time. We just came from Comic-Con, and I have every confidence that a year from now, that we might be seeing the movie trailers, promos, and who knows, maybe even the announcement of the date. Kenny Johnson, from all the Wormhole writers around the world, thank you very much for your time this afternoon, and we look forward to the movie.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Ken. Thank you so much for your interest.